2026. Clyde Hedrick dies in a Houston hospital days before a grand jury could indict him. James Elmore Jr. is arrested, and Tim Miller, Lord's father, gets the phone call he's been waiting 41 years for. But here's what haunts me. Elmore doesn't confess to the police. He confesses to Tim. We've spent 2 episodes on who did what, where the bodies were found, which suspects fit which theories. This week, we're not doing that. We're asking, what does justice even look like after 41 years? When the prime suspect dies before he can even face a jury, when the man in custody is charged with manslaughter and not murder, when the search for more bodies comes up empty. This is our series finale, The Reckoning, and what's next. Welcome back to Coffee and Crime with Mom. I'm Nicholle, Mom.
And I'm
This is part 3, our final episode in the Texas Killing Field series. If you're just joining us, part 1 and 2 covered the geography, the victims, the suspects, the DNA breakthroughs, and the arrest of James Elmore Jr. This week, we're zooming out. We're talking about what it means to pursue justice across 4 decades, what the system got wrong, what actually changed, and where this case goes from here.
This is the episode where we sit with the hard questions.
And there are a lot of them. So let's get into it. Coffee check. What are we drinking today?
Well, you know me. I have a fondness for the dark roast. But today I'm going to be doing a caramel macchiato latte.
Caramel macchiato latte.
Macchiato.
You had to say it like that.
Yeah.
Macchiato. Okay.
Macchiato.
All right. All right. Okay. So I found this recipe for what I'm guessing is an Italian coffee, where you take the egg yolk and you put it in the cup,
Mhm.
and then you put some sugar in there, however much sugar you want,
Mhm.
and then you just froth it. I blend it up real good. If you don't have to froth that till it's kind of not so yellow, like a milky yellow color. It sounds so delicious, doesn't it? And then you just pour the hot coffee on it, and it's so good. It's like really creamy, and I guess it cooks to you. So that's what I'm enjoying. It's a little
Well,
bit.
it sounds like but I did taste it and it was pretty
It's
good.
yummy. It doesn't sound good, but when it
No.
touches your mouth, it's like silky, dreamy.
You should stop.
Okay, let's get.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about Tim Miller after Elmore's arrest. He said, "We got other girls to find. We got closure to bring to more families." 41 years later, and he's still fighting for the other families.
I mean, honestly, there's not enough praise that I could give to Tim Miller. I think that as a dad, he is like dad of the galaxy, but as a human, I also feel like he's just an amazing,
Yeah.
like amazing person. And that's part of what keeps me like coming back and wanting to know about the updates. Because I
Mhm.
mean, it's not about like one killer or one arrest, it's about what happened like when the system fails
Mhm.
so completely that a father has to build his own organization
Right.
just to do the work that like it seemed like nobody else was doing. And the fact that he did it and made a promise that he was gonna help every
And he's
family
still
that he
doing it.
came across, and he's doing it
Mhm.
still to today is
Yes,
like
still doing it.
even with all this stuff going on with his daughter, at the fact that like in that interview where we're talking about your daughter's case
Yeah.
and what's going on, that is the last thing that you said leaving that interview.
Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah. And Texas EquiSearch is the company he founded in August of 2000 after he spent 17 months searching for Laura himself. That's just, oh my God, that's heart-wrenching. It started as a horse-mounted search team. Now it's assisted thousands of searches, found hundreds of missing people. Tim's testified in murder trials, received the FBI Director's Community Leadership Award, and been named a Houston treasure, all
as he
because
should.
justice failed his daughter.
Yeah, and, I mean, the fact that that's what it took is horrible, but the fact that he's out here doing all this
Yeah,
stuff, and he really had they have found a whole bunch of
yeah,
people, um, like they said, hundreds, like,
yeah.
that is amazing, that is amazing.
Once I heard it in this case, researching it, I was like, I have heard Texas EquiSearch so many times when somebody's
Mhm.
missing, like a kid is missing or they're look anytime you hear that name so much in this area and even
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah, and he's still not done. He's still moving through partnering with these people and
Mhm.
searching for kids,
Yeah.
which on a side note, okay,
Mhm.
has nothing to do with him, but it is a whole bunch of bullshit happening in this universe right now, and protecting our
Whole
kids is
bunch of
what needs to be
bullshit.
happening. We need a whole bunch more Tim Millers who are not gonna lay back and just let the system BS you, like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I don't even wanna get into it, but
Yeah.
protect the children.
Yeah. We have to protect the
Protect
children.
the children.
We have to. We just it's hard not to talk about everything that's
Oh my
going on
god.
in
Because
that
I could sit here and then that would be the whole episode, and they'd be
I
like,
know.
"What did we talk
But
about?"
it's nothing,
Everything.
everything, all of it. It's
All of
5
it.
hours long. I know. Eventually, everybody will eventually hear our views on
Yes.
things. There's no way not to, and I feel like even though our platform is kinda small right now, that with everything going on, we kind of have a responsibility to say something at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll go back to this. So, yes, he's still not done, which is exactly where we need to start. So, a quick status check because this case is still moving. James Dolphs Elmore Jr., 61, was arrested in late March of 2026 and indicted by a Galveston County grand jury on manslaughter and tampering with evidence in Laura Miller's death, plus tampering with evidence in Audrey Lee Cook's death. His bail is $3 million. He was denied bond and trial scheduled for August 31st of 2026. So there's so much wrong there. There's just so I
Yeah.
said so many wrong things. I'm glad they denied him a bond because there's no way when you think he's done this, why would you be out? And that you're only being charged for manslaughter.
Manslaughter, that and it's I mean, okay, so here's the thing, because I don't really know, like, how they could like, how he even came to, like, come forth, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, how he knew this was happening.
Mhm.
I don't I didn't get that story in any of the things that I was watching or
Right.
anything about the updates. It never said how that happened.
Mhm.
So, at least not that I saw. If you saw it and you know, update me. But the fact that you went to the dad, like how that even came to be is
Yeah.
insane to me, and maybe that is part of why he got manslaughter. Maybe he was able to make a deal because he did sit down and talk with
Maybe.
Tim Miller for all these months, and he was like, "I'll take one for the team because that's not what I want to get you for, but we'll take manslaughter if you're willing to help give us the information for all these other people."
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why it's manslaughter and not murder, even though
It
if
definitely
it is
should
what
be.
he said it is,
Yeah.
it should definitely be murder.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the way that the law works sometimes can be confusing because he's not saying he killed her. He's saying he gave the dude the drugs,
The laced coke
yeah,
vial.
to give to her.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but it seems way too low. But prosecutors allege Elmore prepared a lethal dose of cocaine that Clyde Hedrick administered to Laura. The charge reflects he may not have intended to kill her, but his actions led to her death. Serious weight, but it's not murder, which it should be.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, because let's pause, back up, and rewind. How do you prepare a lethal dose of cocaine?
Right.
Because if you got cocaine, you know what an appropriate line is,
Right.
okay? And if you don't, I don't know how many people just, jump on the booger sugar train and get the biggest line out there they can get where that's what it doesn't that just doesn't make sense that, "Oh, my that wasn't my intention,"
Right.
because
I mean, if you're on the drug, you're not giving away extra. You know what I'm saying? You know how much it takes, and if you're doing extra, it's intentional. I mean, I've never been on
No, you did
drugs.
not give it to her, you prepped it, and I'm sure you knew what it was for, what the purposes of it was for. You gave it to Clyde, and then he gave it to Laura, so that you're the point A.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't understand, so that doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. So let's talk about the tampering.
So prosecutors say Elmore saw Hedrick dispose of both Laura and Audrey's bodies, that he was present, participated in the cover up, helped hide what happened. The indictment reads he didn't act alone. He worked alongside Hedrick.
The duo theory from part 2 that we talked about is essentially what they're pursuing.
Yeah, it is. And it gets more complicated. Just not too long ago, Elmore was hit with additional charges for possession of visual material depicting sexual assault and child pornography.
Sick ass people,
I'm really starting to think everybody's a pedophile. I don't know. Like, this is ridiculous.
everybody.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
It's all over the internet.
Ooh. Investigators found images on his phone during the Killing Fields investigation. So now we're looking at a man facing charges related to two women's deaths, plus separate charges involving exploitation of children.
Okay. You're involved in too much shit to not have to make it seem like, "Oh, I was just a bystander. Oh, I just
Just
happened to
there.
be there and see him do this to kill these people, and then I was there when he disposed of 2 bodies,
Right.
2
Are
bodies,
you if
not
you were
1."
there, so you were there when he were you there when she died? So you saw her die, and then so where did the other body go? When did you
Where
gather
did
the
that
other
one
body?
come into play? Right.
Nothing you
You covered up, yeah, and then you covered it up, and then obviously helped hide all of that, and then you have all of this, like, kitty porn and possession of all this bro, I mean, if he needs to just be locked up. He needs whatever charges we could get him on that keep him in there, we need him. What about the property search? Because like I said, I'm sure that there was more crime and more victims. Did anything turn up?
Well, on April 16th, authorities executed search warrants at Elmore's Baycliff home. Elmore had allegedly told Tim Miller that Hedrick burned down a structure on the property and buried two unidentified women under the rubble. Tim passed that to investigators, and a multi day search followed.
So I am perplexed by that because I feel like that is just Elmore trying to for lack of a better word, to cover his ass because it don't make sense that Clyde would come to your property, unless that's just where y'all met up to do all of these illegal activities, to come to your property to burn down the structure so that way he had somewhere to bury 2 girls. Like, why?
The story doesn't really make
You
sense.
know? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And so they ended up finding nothing, right? Over the course of it was like 2, 3 days of that searching, they found nothing.
Human remains. The DA's office confirmed on April 27th. The search ended, and no other searches are planned at this time, which is crushing for Tim, who sat with Elmore for 4 years, who believed that there were more bodies. To have that come up empty, I don't know.
It just adds another layer of ambiguity, right? And because how? Did they, definitely just get to a point where they could be like, "Yeah, we're done with this. We're not gonna schedule nothing else," after 3 days, and it looked like he had a good sized lot. It had, trailers on it and, obviously other structures and shit on the property. So, to only be out there for 3 days, how do you know you covered all of that?
Hmm.
Huh?
To not even plan to come back.
Right.
So Elmore may have been lying. He may have been telling the truth and remains were moved decades ago. Or there may be other properties, other locations. DA Kenneth Kuzik has been clear. This is not over with.
Well, see, here's the thing, because what if he was telling the truth and he didn't know that maybe Clyde went back and removed the body before he got caught up as he rightfully should have, but he didn't know he came back and removed the stuff. because maybe he was like, "Yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling about him," so maybe he did tell the truth, and then it just wasn't there, or maybe they didn't look in the right spots, and they didn't find what it was they were looking for because they didn't know where to look, and I don't think that they brought Elmore back to the property for him to show them. Did he? I don't think I heard
I don't
that,
think so. That not from what I read.
which I feel like is what you should have done.
Yeah.
I wanna sit with Clyde Hedrick's death for a moment. It's easy to say prime suspect dead, case closed, but it's not that simple because, I mean, he obviously had a huge, part, and it's more than just him.
So Hedrick died March 21st, 2026 in Houston. He removed his own breathing tube. So per the DA, it's a suicide. 72 years old, convicted of involuntary manslaughter in Ellen Beeson's 1984 death. He served 8 years and was released on parole in 2021, days away from being indicted for the Calder Road murders when he died. And I mean, this is just ridiculous that for the Ellen Beeson death, he got involuntary manslaughter. I don't understand how they decide these things. It
So
just
for
seems
that
so.
case, for that specific case, it is because so when it initially happened, right? She initially, if I'm not mistaken, went missing. Right, the little girl went missing, but she was last seen with Clyde. And so then when she was found, when the lady came because he took somebody out there that I guess who kept asking about what happened to her. And he was like, "I'll show you." So he took her to the body and was like, "If you tell anybody, then this could be you." So she didn't say anything, and then eventually she came forward and said something, and so they went out and discovered the body, and that is how that came about, and then obviously that was, like, years later, right? So when they did new, like, s what was it? Tested the body and all of that stuff, they saw this big crack
At the autopsy.
autopsy. They saw a huge, crack on her skull, like a giant fracture, and they were like, "It's no way that this could have been, from an accident. Somebody had to intentionally, try to bash her head in." But Clyde's story was that they went swimming and that she drowned, and so he was taking her to the hospital and freaked out on the way to the hospital, and that's why he hid her body because he didn't want them to think that he killed her. So he got rid of the body, so that way it didn't look like he killed her, and nobody else was there. So he was like, "I knew it would just be me against whatever." But then they found that when they did the autopsy, looked at the body, saw the fracture, they were like, "It's no way this is what could have happened." But they also didn't have any proof of how he actually did it, and he kept saying he didn't do it, and so the only thing they could get him with was manslaughter.
And involuntary
Involuntary
manslaughter. Yeah.
manslaughter, yeah, because they said technically it was an accident while they were swimming and she drowned, and he's assuming she hit her head, she was under the water. That's his story, Clyde's story.
So that's what they're.
That's what he's saying, so that's how he got the manslaughter for the Ellen Beeson case. So, even that though,
As much sense as it can make, I guess.
yeah, but it makes sense because, to be fair, it's supposed to be you're innocent until proven guilty, and you have to have evidence to prove that it has to be without a shadow of a doubt, and they just didn't have the evidence, and so in cases like that, it's shitty because they were like, "Hey, we know you did this shit
Right.
because this is what it's saying, but we can't prove
So we have to
you
just
did
get
this shit."
get what we can out of the
Yeah,
situation.
we know you was the last person seen with her.
Yeah.
We have witnesses
Okay.
and you confess.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you said that it was an accident that happened while you 2 were, swimming and then she drowned. So, involuntary manslaughter,
Okay.
plus you got rid of the body.
Okay. I get it.
So, I can see
See
where
where
they
it makes
they got
sense.
with that one. That makes sense because they didn't really have a choice with that one.
Yeah.
But for the suicide, I agree because Tim Miller said he took the coward's way out, and I think that anybody who commits suicide after you've done such shitty things in your life and right before you're about to really be indicted, but for murder, he was like, "I'll take the manslaughter," but the murder, he was like, "I can't do it anymore. I've been in here for a little bit." But he was out because he got out in 21. So he was already out. So he was just like, I can't go back.
Maybe so, yeah. Maybe that's what it was. So I understand Tim's rage, but I also want to sit with what was lost. A criminal indictment isn't just paper, it's public record, legal truth families can point to. It forces testimony, discovery, evidence aired in open court, and Hedrick's death robbed families of that process.
Yeah. And it possibly robbed them of any answers about there being other victims
Mm,
because, I mean, who else is gonna corroborate what Elmore is saying? And then, outside of that, whatever other stuff, obviously he was acting alone because the Ellen Beason situation. So there's no telling who else was out there.
yeah. So if Hedrick was involved in more murders than the Calder wrote for, and many believe he was,
Mhm.
like we do, and those answers died with him. Where other bodies might be, who else was involved, whether there were other accomplices, all harder to prove without his testimony.
And the crazy thing is, if I'm not mistaken, on the documentary, The Crime Scene, the Texas Killings, the one on Netflix, it's a woman on there, and she said that her mother was married to Clyde, and so she talks about what it was like and, like, her experience and, like, the stuff that he was doing around that she's seen and, like, what was happening when Ellen Beason went missing and all that other stuff. So like, hearing her perspective of just, like, who he was as a person and, like, what she was saying, like, the community felt and all of this and just how she felt and was like, "I don't understand how my mom ended up, like, with him." Is to see the type of person he is, it's no way
Right.
to, like, feel like it's nobody else out there, you know?
Right.
I mean, but prosecutors did share evidence of his alleged involvement with the grand jury anyway.
So for transparency and closure, not the same as conviction,
No.
but something, a formal presentation of evidence, a record saying we believe this man did this, even though he can't be tried.
Which is insane.
Right.
But Nina Yeager, Hedify's niece, had a different reaction. She said, "It's sad that Clyde didn't get to pay for what he did. On the other hand, I'm glad he no longer breathes the same air we do and that he's met his maker." Agreed, because that's where you need to be at, because that's the only person that can really punish you
Right.
for what you've done. Yeah, yeah.
And that tension is real. The desire for accountability versus relief that a predator is gone. Both can be true. Both are true for different people in this story.
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on, like, systematic failures in part 1, but I wanna, like, go a little deeper, and we've already explained what we mean with the systematic failures. So I think it's important that understanding why this took 41 years is, like, essential in knowing whether it could happen again or if I feel like it is happening already somewhere. Somebody maybe they're in the waiting period,
Right.
or
I
even
haven't found
I had
that.
even just heard of a story of a woman who was just reunited with her parents after being missing for 51 years. She was kidnapped as a toddler,
Wow.
and she was 51 when she was reunited with them.
That has
I
to be
could not.
unreal. That has to be unreal.
51 years. Oh my goodness. But I mean, for stuff like that to be happening, obviously, just to know that there are stories like there, hell yes, system failures. There's no way you can't be like getting about it, especially people working in law enforcement. If you're not willing to open your eyes and see that this is not working, like clearly, it's not that it's necessarily you, but the systems that you work for that, are put in place for you to follow is something it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing because it's too much loss
Right.
and too much shit that people are getting away with that you have no we as people, not just you, but we have no control or like it's no better way to get justice for these people because it's what can we do, other than us people rallying out and maybe doing something or like vigilante style, like let's off them.
That's always it's always dangerous. It sounds good in some situations, but I always think, what once we've done that thing, accomplished whatever that was, we can turn it on anybody.
Yeah.
That's a power that can be useful in situations, but the human part of it makes it even more dangerous.
Right.
So to answer your question, the short answer is yes. Like you said, it could, probably is. And many of these women were labeled runaways or troubled teens, which
And how
happens all the
often does
time.
that happen?
Yeah. Some were
Especially in the
sex
United States?
workers. Yeah, some were sex workers. And because of those labels, investigations were delayed. Missing persons reports weren't filed immediately. Searches weren't launched, and the assumption that they were that they were chose to disappear cost lives.
And that is insane. That is insane. It'd be like especially with the teenagers. I feel like it's no way that it's like y'all just be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, they're just a runaway." Even if they're a teenager, why the hell are you not looking for them? They're not in a space where they can be out here just living their life. Why is it just, "Oh, pish posh, they ran away." Okay, and so what?
We still have
And
to
so
find
what if
them.
they're troubled teens? Don't you feel like that's even more reason to reach out and try to be there for them and help them because this is they left for what are they running from?
Right.
Why is that not ever the question? Oh, they ran away, but why? Why? And
That takes more effort.
why does it make them the bad guy because they ran away? Kids run from shit that scares them or it's bad situations happening. Like it's not always because, oh, I'm going to be with my boyfriend or my girlfriend or I want to be
And
out
even
here.
sometimes when it is that, that's still dangerous. That
Yeah.
doesn't negate the fact that we need to find
I
this
completely
minor.
agree, yes, but that's not always the mindset,
Right.
like, you have to so and I feel like because there are people who do it just for that, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go run away and try to see whatever," and even those situations, for a lot of the time turn out horrible, horrible, so it's like, why is that even a label? Why does that even matter? Like, why is that an effect on if you're going out to search for people or not? It's a fucking person. Who that if they came and I came and told you, "Hey, this is my loved one, I love them. They're gone, I need somebody to find them. There's somebody in this world who cares about them. Why are we not looking for them?"
Right.
And if
And
it's
we should
enough to
care. We
just
should
say
care.
something. Yeah.
We should care, period. Because I don't know. It's just crazy that the way that the system works and it fails people who need them the most.
Yeah.
We should always be looking. Do too much. Do too much there.
Do too much because
Spend time doing that
yeah.
and less time being corrupt. Like find the children, find it doesn't make sense that people because the thing is, people are adults. They can disappear if they want when we're talking about adults. When we're talking about kids, they're runaways. But how often does it happen? I would like to know the numbers that how often is it actually that it's just a runaway? I'm sure that happens a lot.
You
I'm
know
sure it
what? You know
does.
what I think I wanna do? Like, I want to make an episode I would like to do an episode for Jasmine, for my friend that went missing. And then that way, I mean, it gets her name out there, not just hers, but, like to do stuff like this to draw attention to the fact that there are so many people going missing and it's not a whole bunch of shit that is happening like it should. But that would also be able to help get like an update on like statistics like that, like because that is part of what was happening. Like, oh, she's a freshman in college. She's just out there living her life. And then it's all this stuff that points to like, no, like something isn't right. Like the fake text messages pretending to be Jasmine. Who does that if they're innocent? You know what I'm saying? Or, why is all her stuff there? She left in the middle of December in Chicago, Illinois in a snowstorm with no shoes, no backpack, no nothing. But oh, kids do that. What? So like, and that is crazy. And the fact that is what you think. Like, who does that?
Who does that?
Would your kid do that? Would your kid get up
Even
and
if you're
run out
gonna
in the
leave,
snowstorm?
if I'm in college and I'm gonna leave, I can still tell people I'm gonna
I'm
leave.
going
I
somewhere.
don't have to leave in the middle of the night without my shoes and anything.
Yeah.
It's not that if I just want to leave, I can just
I
leave.
can
Like
just
you're
leave.
saying, it's okay for me to leave. Why would I do it this way?
What kind of
There
situation
has
would I
to be
have to be in
something.
that I left all of my stuff here?
Right.
And then and back to it is we'll cover that when we get there. But it's like it's ridiculous. They do not take it's
Hmm.
missing people seriously for whatever their reasoning is disgusting and we need to do better as a people as a whole.
Yeah.
And especially like for this situation, like Laura Miller, she was last seen September 10th, 1984, but her body was found February 2nd, 1986, 17 months later, literally right next to where her father had been begging the police to look for the entire time,
Right.
where they kept telling him, "Oh, it's no connection, these are separate cases, it doesn't matter that somebody else was found in that area, has nothing to do with your daughter. Don't worry about it, it's separate, and we're not gonna check," and never checked.
And that's what makes it not seem like maybe I wasn't trained right.
Yeah, just
It just
let's
seems
get
like
some more.
I don't care. I don't care about your daughter. I don't care about what happened to her. I don't care about this community because if she's gone, we don't know what happened to her. I just don't care.
Okay. I'm not interested in doing the work.
So 17 months of decomposition, lost evidence, a family not knowing, and the jurisdictional mess, Houston Police, Galveston County Sheriff, League City Police, each with their own files. No shared database, nobody seeing the whole picture. The payphone connection alone, Edie and Laura both in League City, should have triggered something.
Something. Oh my goodness. And that just what you said right there. Nobody's seeing the whole picture because even if everything is not connected, you never know what is connected. And the fact that y'all are just, this is mine. I'm not saying anything.
Right.
You never know. People traveled
Mhm.
on purpose I
We're
mean,
not
think about
talking
truck drivers. Think about truck drivers and stuff who go out there and commit crimes jumping from state to
right.
state to
And
state. They not sitting in
we're
one
not
spot.
talking about long distances here.
This is right here.
This
This
is
within
like
like a
maybe
2-hour total span. From where this is all happening, 2 hours. From what we're covering,
yeah.
a 2-hour span on that I-45.
Yeah, we're not because we're
So
staying in different cities. So if you're where you live is not set up like Texas, then you don't understand that those cities are like one right
yeah,
after the other.
yeah,
You
they're right
know,
there. They're not far.
so it's not like they had to. These weren't great mountains they had to climb to
Yeah.
get this information.
Yeah, they coulda just picked up a phone. Or if you wanna go, old country and do with the stereotypes, because Texas put somebody on horseback and send them down the street. It wasn't that far.
You could, and you definitely could,
You definitely
and your
could.
horse would be fine. It wouldn't
Fine.
even overheat
It
in
wouldn't
the
need
summer heat.
it'd be great.
It'd be all
It
right.
would be good. It'd make it there and back. Probably
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
even
even
need a
need to
water
water
break.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, is that tells you it's not that far from these places. And so then on top of all of that, the crime scenes were horribly mismanaged. And like the Calder Road field was not secured after Heidi skull was found. And the bodies themselves were exposed to weather and animals and obviously the time. So evidence degraded before systematic searches happened. And the skull itself, the field should have been secured after they found the skull and the body. I understand why they didn't do it immediately. They should have secured where the skull was found, that immediate area, and then searched from there,
right.
is what I think, not just went on with the search, "Oh, it's a skull, let's search." You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
let's not confide this. We see it's not a body right here next to the skull.
So first of all, we
So,
should be looking for the
block that
body.
off. Right. So then they did go I mean, they have to went to go find the body after somebody went out there, but still, some of it is like things they did not have any control of, like the weather and the animals and the time. I mean, the time, if they had did what they're supposed to a little bit earlier, yeah, but it's not all completely within their control. So, I mean, the crime scene, they definitely coulda did better with. That's
And that's why it's important in cases like this where there are so many factors that are working against you or that you don't have control of, that you make sure you take control of the parts that you can.
yeah, and
And you're hyper focused on those parts because you need to cover for the things that happen and you don't have control over it.
I mean, yeah,
And again, I am no police officer. I've never done an investigation. This is just me with all of my years in Law and Order and Dateline
right,
and all the
and
true
Criminal
crime.
Minds and
So
stuff, and
yeah,
Snapped and all of that.
all of those, but
So,
because
yeah,
we're only talking about 60 feet between Edie and Laura,
yeah,
the
yeah,
same dirt road, the same abandoned oil field.
mhm.
For grid searches after Edie, they might have found Laura sooner, Audrey sooner, Donna before 1991.
Yeah, and Michael Lloyd Self's coerced confession, I mean,
He confessed to early 1970s murders, like coerced, inconsistent with evidence. Cases were closed based on it,
insane.
and the real offender may have stayed free. An innocent man may have gone to prison.
And that happens so often where police can coerce people into saying
Yeah.
the damnedest things. But so, like, since that situation was
So we have NamUs, the national database, genetic genealogy, how Audrey and Donna got their names back in in 2019, after 33 years. To jurisdictional task force. So now, they're working together. They have these, interjurisdictional task force. And of course, Texas EquiSearch is filling the gaps.
Mhm.
But the bias is still there. Certain victims get attention, others get ignored. Law enforcement is still overwhelmed, and jurisdictional barriers still exist. Better tools, same underlying problems.
Okay, I'm gonna say something that's gonna be probably very unpopular and shoot me in the foot, not literally, but I mean, fuck your opinion. Um, so here's the thing. I feel like in some of these cases, yes, it can be that the police are overwhelmed. In other cases, I feel like they're just shitty police officers who should not be police officers.
So 100%.
And then on the other hand, I feel like it's people who are willing to cover up the shit that's going on, so that way, 1, you don't have to do the work, 2, you don't have to make your city look bad, you can just, "Oh, let's brush this under the
And
rug and
keep our
make it
numbers
look
good.
like what?" Yeah, make it look like this, or you're involved with the reason why these girls are going missing, and so we're covering it up because, yeah, our town is little or we don't have this, and that, but we can make sure that you have girls because it's a tourist site, so we always have women, different people, whether they're staying or not, they're coming through here. The people we could get, that's not, so why would I put all of this energy into solving all of these cases and put like bringing all of this
Right.
spotlight to it?
And maybe that's why they weren't doing the proper searches, because they knew something was out there that we didn't know was out there.
Yeah,
And it's possible with all the teenage
for
girls
them to
that
be
were
like, it's private
disappearing
property.
in the
Yeah,
70s and stuff. So we don't, it's no telling. And why wouldn't you? I find a body and we have this piece of land, we already see that the body and the head are not together. We don't know what else is out here.
that part. But why after we found all of the things that we have find, all the victims we found, why are we not making this less accessible for people? Why has it been
Also,
like 40 plus years and people can still go out here and just dump bodies, but nothing has changed. I don't think it's any kind of gates or any kind nothing that has been put up by anybody to make it where these people can't just go out here and dump these bodies. Now I understand it's marshlands and shit, but that is the exact reason why you should make it not so easily accessible. I don't understand that at all.
well, it's just a part of not caring, because I don't understand exactly how you would set all that up, but then I'm not in the government. And when your police see it and they go to it, they're like, we need something, then that's where you get people who know how to do these things
Right.
in there to set it up. But it just didn't seem like any of it meant enough.
So who is in the position? Because I'm sure after all of these years, it's somebody who's been on the task force for I don't know how many years who have been like, "Hey, we need this." Then who's in the position of power that's not listening? That's who we need to be looking at
We need to
because then
stay
you're the
together.
problem.
Definitely.
You're helping them do this,
Right. So I want to spend time on the people who kept this case alive. Without them, we wouldn't be here.
and obviously, our knight in shining everything is Mr. Tim Miller.
Yes, the obvious
Yeah,
one. We love Tim Miller.
yes, we do.
But he's not the only one. Tim met with Elmore at least 30 times over 4 years. Approached DA Cusick in December of 2025, asking for fresh eyes. He pushed for the review that led to indictments, and he's still pushing. There's Heidi Fai's family. Nina Jacker spoke at the press conference after Elmore's arrest. Decades of waiting. Audrey and Donna's families, who got names back in 2019 but still don't have justice. Investigators who kept working when cases went cold. Detective Corey Wilson, Chief Assistant DA Kate Willis, DA Kusick himself, who revisited all evidence since 1983.
I mean, and let's not forget to mention all the forensic scientists and people who came through to make it where they could even do the like dental records to figure out who these women were or to help figure out what was going on with Ella Beeson. And it's crazy to talk about the genetics and the like forensic science because
Hmm.
I just think all of that is so fascinating. I think it is so wonderful. It's not perfect, but the fact that we are able to do all of this stuff where we can give these women back their names after all of it, because that is such a long time to be a unknown.
Yeah, and that's what, they use the genetic genealogy to identify Jane Doe's after 33 years. Prove DNA can speak when witnesses can't, when
Yeah.
suspects are dead.
Yeah, and so they did use their teeth to identify, Laura and, I believe it was Heidi. They used their teeth, their dental records to identify them, but the Jane and the Janet Doe, they did not have their dental records didn't match anything in that area system, and because Leaf City had mismanaged the crime scene and stuff, there was no other DNA around there that they could get. They didn't have anything to test for DNA because it was so badly mismanaged.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was near Laura's body, they found the shirt. But I don't think that they found, I don't think then they had, like, DNA testing where they could, like, do all of that for the shirt. So they just tagged the shirt.
Okay.
I mean, so it was evidence there. I don't know what happened with all of that, but, like, the forensic science and having to go out there and work the crime scenes and doing all of that to be able to get any kinda answers is just
Definitely.
amazing. So I feel like this case is a testament to what happens when families refuse to be ignored because, I mean, one, why are we being ignored? That's starter. I shouldn't have to be it shouldn't be a thing. We should make this.
You shouldn't have to fight for this.
Yeah.
And to how much energy that requires. Tim Miller shouldn't have had to do this. PewDiePie's family shouldn't have waited 40 years. The system should have worked the first time.
And to think that if the police weren't telling Tim Miller and, his wife or whatever to not talk to Keedy Five's family, like, "Oh, they're mourning their daughter, y'all don't need to be communicating. It's separate incidences, don't bother them." They
The other
coulda
day
got
parties that feel
together.
real slimy about this.
What?
What?
They coulda got together and really helped each other. I mean, 1, emotionally, but 2, we could've just put what we know and tried to see if we could connect any dots because there were clearly dots that needed to be connected that
That the
e
police weren't doing.
weren't doing, either willingly or unwillingly. Okay, so where does the case stand, like, right now? Because, like we said, it's still currently ongoing, it's still stuff happening.
So Elmore's in custody right now. His bail was denied and trial is set for August 31st. The Bay Cliff search came up empty, but the investigation is active. Hedrick is dead, but evidence of his alleged involvement was presented to the grand jury, and Cusick says explicitly, this is not over with. There are other active leads.
And I even though Clyde died and, like, he didn't get to be presented to the grand jury, didn't Tim Miller at one point, he did the civil suit. So, like, in a civil, he was seen as being
Mhm.
responsible. So I feel like for him, that's why it was, like, I'm sure that it's still impossibly, like, heartbreaking, but he got some kind of justice out of that, and now he can focus on Elmore. And I'm sure that it makes it a little bit easier for him to be able to sit down and talk with this man knowing, like, "You've done all the shit that you've done, you've committed to being part of my daughter dying, but I can sit here and hear what you're having to say so I can help all of these families because in some sense, I did get justice for my daughter, and helping these people is getting justice for my daughter." And so, what does it mean when it says there are other active leads, though? Because that's juicy.
Yeah, so there are other suspects, other properties, other victims to identify. Around 30 women found in the area over decades. The Calder Road Four are just the most known. There are many others.
Yeah, I mean, we covered some of them, but my goodness, 30 women, Jesus, there's so many women. That's a lot. Okay, and then not just the Calder Road for, but what about the healing fields?
So that is a movement to transform Calder Road from the killing fields to the healing fields, a memorial park. It's a local church and community members, something that they created markers for each woman. Reclaim the space and make it about remembrance.
That is so beautiful for them to change it from the killing fields to the healing fields. And they did show a piece of that in the documentary if you wanna see what they have that set up like. I like that. I mean, but I also feel like we do want to heal from it. We do want to bring, like, a sense of peace or whatever, but we should not, like, erase the horrors because we need that motivation so that we can remember what we're fighting for and get justice for these women and to make sure that whoever did it isn't just getting away with it.
Yeah, and the memorial should sit alongside truth. It shouldn't replace it. The failures, the victims, and the decades of waiting. So the Texas killing fields doesn't have a tidy ending. It may never have one. Hedrick died before indictment. Elmore faces manslaughter, not murder, plus new charges. A search for more bodies came up empty, and dozens of families are still waiting. But here's what I keep coming back to. Tim Miller sitting across from James Elmore Jr. for 4 years, listening and gathering information, holding it together in the room and sobbing in his car afterward. Oh my God. Building an organization that helped thousands because nobody helped him. Approaching a new DA and saying, look at this again. Getting an arrest 41 years later. That is not the system's victory. That is one man's refusal to let his daughter be forgotten. And it raises a question we can't answer, but have to keep asking. How many other Tim Millers are out there? How many families are still searching and pushing and waiting for someone to take their case seriously? How many other Laura Millers disappeared because the system looked away?
There are so many. I mean, that is the question, but we don't have a, like, definite number, but there are so many because it happens so often. It is so horrible. It does not matter. Children, teenagers, women, it does not matter the age. They are looking the other way for whatever reasons or and
None of
sometimes
them are
they
good.
just don't have what they need, you know?
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's whichever way it goes, it is heartbreaking because the way these women are losing their lives, it just and then not being nobody knowing who you are, what happened to you.
just horrible. And that's the only honest answer. There are just too many, far too many. If you want to go deeper, the Netflix docuseries Crime Scene, The Texas Killing Fields from 2022 is comprehensive. Harry Laverne's book Bad Boy from Rosebud is essential reading on Texas criminal justice failures in this area. And if you want to support finding the missing, look into Texas EquiSearch. Tim Miller's organization is still out there, still searching, and still bringing families home. All sources and links are in the show notes. And we want to sincerely thank you for spending this time with us over this last 3 weeks. Um,
Yeah.
it wasn't fun, but hopefully maybe a new perspective.
New
Yeah,
information.
maybe somebody somewhere that happens to be listening to our new podcast knows something that'll break the case. We can only hope.
Yeah, or maybe we can, like, help be that push to help make sure that there's more action.
Mhm.
Because I mean, even if we can't be the reason why there's answer. I would love to be part of the reason why there's more action and we're doing more.
Absolutely. So as usual, please make sure you like, subscribe, follow,
Review,
rate, share,
share,
all the buttons, whichever
all of
side
the
they're on, all
buttons,
the
yes,
buttons.
and,
And thank you guys again, and we will see you next
see you next time.
Take care of yourselves out there.
Yes.